Welcome to the Doors Survive Guide. In this survival guide I'm gonna teach you how to survive the main entities of the hotel. So the first entity we have here is Rush. First step, know if the lights of the room you are flickers. If it does, hide in a closet until Rush sound stops. But don't stay for too long in the closet, or else an entity named Hide will attack you, and make you leave the closet. But what happens, if you don't hide in the closet? Well, you basically die. But don't worry, a helpful entity named Guiding Light will revive you, if you die to any entity. And now here is footage of how Rush works. Now with the entity named Ambush, he has the same mechanic as Rush, but he comes back 2, 3 or 4 times, so you gotta hide and leave every time he comes and leaves. If Ambush catches you, you die, but you can revive with the help of Guiding Light. And now here is a footage of how Ambush works. Now the next entity we have here is Screech. Screech likes to lurk in dark places, and will attack, if the player doesn't look at him. When he does his PSSSG, it won't kill the player, but it will deal a lot of damage to the player, so make sure to look at him. And now here is footage of how Screech works. Now the next entity is Dread. Dread appears as a white and light blue bacteria-shaped entity that has a sponge-like texture. If a clock strikes midnight, takes 10 minutes or 7, if the player is wielding the alarm clock, Dread will begin chasing the players. In order to escape Dread, players either have to open the door to the next room or use the crucifix on Dread. If Dread catches up to a player, the player will be stunned and killed by Dread. And now here is footage of Dread. So now we have here a And now we have here, Dupe. Dupe is an entity that will mimic a fake door, to confuse the player. If the player goes in the fake door, Dupe will grab the player and damage him. But if you have a crucifix, you can crucify Dupe. And now here is footage of how Dupe works. Now the next entity we have here is Sally. Sally hides in the hotel windows, and if the player spots her, while lighting happens, she will go through the window, chasing the player, to damage him and steal an item from him. Here is footage of how Sally works. Now the next entity we have here is Halt. Halt has his own room that the player has to walk until the next door, but Halt will keep the player turn back a bunch of times, until the player gets out of the Halt room, or if the player dies. Here is a footage of how Halt works. Now the next entity we have here is Seek. Seek is a boss in the hotel and the mines. He will chase the player until guiding lights blocks the door, or he kills the player. Now here is footage of how Seek works. Now the final entity we have here is Figure. Figure is the main boss of the hotel and a mini boss on the mines. He is blind so he can't see the player, but he can hear the player, so the player has to crouch, or else Figure will eat the player. Now here is a long footage of how Figure works. now the next entity we have here is Eyes. Eyes is an entity that will appear in the hotel and mines. You can't look at him, or else he will damage you. Here is footage of how Eyes works. So the next entity is actually a joke one. The entity is Jeff the Killer. Jeff the Killer is a fictional character in the online horror fiction subgenre, known as creepypastas. He is depicted as a pale, noseless man with long, unkempt black hair framing his face, his eyes wide and dark, filled with an unsettling intensity. A menacing grin is carved into his face, stretching unnaturally from cheek to cheek, giving him a constant, twisted smile. His slender figure is often shown wielding a sharp, deadly knife, his posture hunched and predatory, always ready to strike. Jeff the Killer has a chance to spawn in any room that players enters, where he will then pathfind to other players and deal 75 damage when touched. At random times, Jeff will say go to sleep in a white text pop-up above his head in the old Roblox chat style. Jeff the Killer will kill the player with his knife. Here is footage of how Jeff the Killer works. And now we are going to show you 3 hidden entities that only spawn if you get glitch fragments. Now the next entity we have here is Jack. Jack takes the appearance of a black and white head with dark, hollow eyes and an unsettling smile, showing only its top teeth. Half of its face is obscured in darkness, while its neck fades out with a faint smoky effect. The in-game version has slightly less smoke effects, has a smaller mouth and less teeth are shown. Scrapped version Jack's teeth are a bit shorter, and its shadowed neck had a curve at the bottom. Behavior Jack can interfere with the player in various ways. A player cannot go inside a closet or locker when Jack is inside, as it doesn't allow them in before abruptly closing the doors. However, opening the hiding spot once more will likely show that Jack has disappeared, and a player will be able to hide as normal. If Jack appears on the other side of a door, it will distort the room and engulf it in a dark red color with black spots for a few seconds before returning to normal. Here is footage of how Jack works.